Welcome to the first episode of Learn and Grow. Being the first video, I'll give a little introduction. I'm Hudson, I'm 22, and I've been working in remote sales for the past couple of months now. And the idea behind Learn and Grow is to really document the challenges, the difficulties that I've faced along the way, and really put them into content form for people that may be experiencing similar difficulties along the way, and really what I've implemented to overcome these as I've gone. And this will just continue to document my journey and the problems and difficulties that I continue to face, and how I overcome them. So with that being said, first of all, we'll address how to sound more confident when you speak. Now, I'll specifically be relating to sales calls because that's what I know, so that's what I'll speak on. But moving into the problem, not sounding confident when you're talking. When you're actually, on a sales call, when you're talking to a prospect, you can certainly hear in your voice whether or not you're confident in what you're saying. Solution: develop and train the variables that you can control. So actually training the skills to help you sound more confident, actually deliver yourself in a more professional, confident manner. Action steps: develop skills. Tonality, cadence, and timing. So tonality is really how you're sounding when you're talking. So you want a nice neutral tone, not up, not down, nice and neutral. Cadence is how quick or slow you're talking. So it's really the pacing of the words that you're saying. And then timing, using your verbal pauses when you're saying certain things and when you're not saying other things. Developing knowledge, specifically developing knowledge around, say, what you're selling, for example, but on a broader scale, really developing knowledge around anything that you're talking about so that you can develop really that backing knowledge of what you're talking about. Then you can answer specific questions with confidence. Now, personal and self-development, I probably should have put this at the top because really it all stems from this, really developing that confidence within yourself. It will automatically project that confidence in your voice. Implementation. So we'll move into developing the skills. Address the weaknesses. So whether that's tone, cadence, timing, what you're saying, how you're saying it, really listen back to your calls or record how you're talking, or just pay attention to when you're having conversations with people where you're finding that you're not actually talking with that full confidence. And then write these things down. Make note of what you're doing wrong so that then you can train that and then improve that. And developing the knowledge we briefly touched on in the previous slide. So really developing an understanding of what it is you're talking about. And I'll use me for an example on sales calls. So I've developed quite a good product knowledge of what it is I'm actually selling so that whenever a prospect asks me a question, I know that I have the answer to that question, which overall lifts your confidence up because you're not worrying so much about, I hope they don't ask me this or I hope I don't get asked that, because ultimately you will have the answers to those questions. Then moving into the personal and self-development aspect of it. So I've mentioned and spoke about just previously developing the skills and developing the knowledge, but that's not really effective unless you implement a routine to actually train that effectively. So what I've done, my routine, I'll lay out for you. So in the morning, I'll wake up and do an hour or two of education. So that's addressing weaknesses, learning product knowledge, learning about what I'm saying, what I'm doing, so that I can talk with that overall confidence when I get asked certain questions. And actually dedicating the time to growing as a person really just ties in with the routine. So how I structure my day, so like I was saying, I'll go back a step. So in the morning, I'll do an hour or two of education, and I'll work in 2-hour focused blocks. So when I'm working, I'll do 2 hours focused work, have a break. 2 hours focused work, have a break. And then generally I go to the gym during the day because I know for me personally, for me to be confident in what I'm doing, I have to be confident in myself. So I get a gym session in the middle of the day, come back, 2 hours work, have a break, 2 hours work again. And that's roughly how my day gets structured every day. And then at the end of the day, you can also put in, more education. I like to go for a walk, put my earphones in and say, listen to a podcast or listen to something educational. And it really varies. It depends on what you're trying to learn. But in the beginning, really developing, as a person is probably the key to everything. And I've written down the bottom there, become dialed in your own life. And you'll find why I say the root of where your confidence comes from is actually being dialed in your own life. And it actually conveys in your voice when you're talking. That confidence you have in yourself comes out in your tone. And people can hear that. Because 94% of emotions actually conveyed through tone. So it's how you're saying things, not actually what you're saying. Because people can hear this, people can pick up on this. It's in the subconscious. That's just how it works. And then just a few personal development books that I've added on the end. The first one's Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. That's really good on just that mental talk that you have with yourself, that mental conversation, really catching beliefs at the belief stage and just leaving them there so that they don't actually get to the point where they bring your confidence down. And then Atomic Habits and 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. They're really about, the structuring of your day and how that overall brings up the level of your productivity so that you can optimize what you're doing. And again, overall have that confidence come up. Because really it all stems from how you view yourself and where you put yourself in the position to actually be talking to other people and for them to actually see you as a trusted advisor and somebody that knows what they're talking about. But from here, to take away from that, first, develop personal development. Huge, massive. Start reading those books, develop a routine, get into that cycle where you're so dialed in your own life, it starts projecting in your own voice. And then in that education slot in the morning or in the afternoon, that's where you develop your skills and address your weaknesses and actually learn what you're talking about. And then you'll find over time, as you do this consistently, that's when your overall confidence starts to lift. But with that, we'll leave that there for those takeaways for that lesson. And I'll see you in the next video.